Hey guys, it's Ray, and we are streaming blacksmithing. So I have spent the past 15 minutes looking for my multi-tool because I need my multi-tool to change bits on my angle grinder, and I have no clue where it is. So I was going to do some a Frederick's cross, which I have all of the materials like cut and ready to go for that. But yeah, now I don't have my, my angle grinder, so I can't actually do the cuts. So, yeah, it poofed on me. I thought that it was on my table next to my bench grinder, and then I thought maybe it was on my workbench, and I've even looked in the house. I have no clue where this thing went. So we are changing plans, and as a result, I'm going to be a little bit discombobulated today because I was thinking about the process of Frederick crosses, and now I have to last minute change projects. So let me find a piece of stock that I can use for that. I think we're probably going to use this guy right here, which is a lovely piece of round stock. I think it's a 1/2 inch. This guy is like, I don't know, 18 inches long or so. So let me change gears real fast. I'm so sorry about that. Let's see. I don't even have my apron on, so yeah, I'm a little bit discombobulated today. Whoops, that's upside down. Okay. I do have a couple other things that we can do. But because I could not find my multi-tool, I have not cut the paper clip off of the bar that it is on, so we're going to, I do have plans to hang up the paper clip today, but it's going to still be on the bar. I'm gonna have to pull or take the bar off another time when I have my angle grinder available. So let's see, let's do that first. Do I have a long enough cord is my issue, because I want to put it right over there. So put those there. I've got my bit here. It's a nice star bit, and then I've got a nice screw, and we're going to hang it from the hole on our lovely hook. So let's see if I need to find a extension cord. Looks like I do. Let me do that real fast. And I apologize for how spastic this stream is. We'll get it going and it'll be fine. Let's pick up this one. This one looks fine. And as always, I'm a little bit discombobulated, but it'll be all right. There we go. Here we are. I have an extension cord that is a functional extension cord. Jeez. Okay. What? I might be learning interesting English words today. Discombobulated. It means my brain is, I'm an airhead. There's nothing in my brain. I am uncomfortable. Next Monday is St. Patrick's Day. I was thinking about a little clover as a mini project if you were looking for filler ideas. Ooh, that is a good idea, Mahalo. We could probably do something like that. We can maybe take our leaf and turn it into a 4-leaf clover, possibly. There is a chance that I could probably manage that. today, maybe. It's not something I've ever done before though, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what we can come up with. But on Monday, we are actually going to be starting our new project with the tongs. So that is the goal, is to do the tongs. But if we would prefer to do like a clover, I could totally do that too. We could delay by one day the tongs. So ordinarily I have a DeWalt drill that's like a cordless drill and on a battery and stuff, but they only usually last about a year each one of them. And unfortunately, just before I got sick, my last one died, and I was never really able to get another one. Not that I'm not capable, just that I haven't gotten around to it. So I'm using this lovely Black & Decker that was purchased by my partner like forever ago. So we are going to hang our lovely J-hook, and then we are going to hang our paper clip from it. So I'm gonna come over here like so, and let's see if I can do this. Because of course. What if I do it this way? There it goes. I have a nice starter hole. Now we'll stick the hook on there, go back into our starter hole, all right, we've got our hook on there, our lovely hook, and here's our paper clip job. So yay, paper clip. And we'll hang that right there for the moment. We will definitely come back to that when I have cut the edge off. I also think maybe I should get rid of that like table thing that's going on right there. It's kind of in the way and can't really see the paper clip very well. Greetings, Ping. Hello. Maybe in the long run you might want to put something white behind it. Definitely. It is very kind of, you can't really see it very well, so I think I definitely need to put something white behind it. I do have like some really light colored wood on the walls in the corner behind the camera, and we are eventually, like sometime this spring, going to be flipping my shop around, so hopefully it will show up a little bit better on the background back there. But this is kind of a temporary thing. We're kind of you know, putting it there for the moment, temporarily, and then once we flip the shop, then it'll go there permanently. Ping has subscribed again. Thank you so much for the subscription and your continued support, Ping. I greatly appreciate that. And yes, so our hook and paper clip is now in our background. Like, you know, it's a little bit less exciting than I want it to be. Like I said, I think it's kind of, it doesn't show up very well. Let's Maybe if I get rid of this. Oh, that's heavier than I thought it was. I have never moved that thing. I will have to have my partner help me with that. I don't want to hurt myself, especially on stream. Tip set, thank you. All right. So, let's see. Yeah, like I said, I'm a little bit less prepared for today than I originally anticipated because, like I said, I can't find my multi-tool, so I can't change the blade on my angle grinder. I've got a flap disc on it right now, and I was gonna stick our cutting disc on it. So yeah, this is a little bit sharper than I want, so I will be right back. We're gonna grind off the edge here real fast. Wow. Maybe I could, use my safety equipment. That would help. It would help a lot. It's gonna be one of those days, guys. I'm so sorry. Okay, let's try this again. Okay. Now we've got all that flashing all nice and clear and off of the end of this bar, so I won't cut my hand anymore. The grinder solution is to have one-of-a-kind disc on it. Oh, yes, I need multiple discs or multiple angle grinders. Yeah, that's probably the best solution, but I only have one, so I have to change the discs periodically. Let's start the forge, and then maybe I'll, be able to kind of give myself a little bit of time to kind of evaluate what I need to be doing today. There we go. Starting up this forge. There we go. Much better. Alrighty. So, let's see. I've got 3 of them by my welder. A regular grinder disc, a cutoff wheel, and a flat disc. Ooh, that would be so convenient. You could have them all hung up like in a line, and then you can just like do your cuts, do your welds, do your grinds, and do your flap discs, and it would be gorgeous. Yes, that is a great idea. Maybe one day I will get smart enough to do something like that, but I don't know. Okay, let's put the bar in the forge so we can start that up. And okay. So my partner said that I should totally do an unboxing of our bottle jack. So I'm thinking maybe we could do something like that on Friday, because I won't be able to put it into the press until Sunday anyway. So I don't know, that might be a thing that we could do. If you guys are interested in seeing what all it looks like. Ooh, it's starting to get hot in here. As it comes out of the bucket or the box and all of the packaging and everything like that, and then I can kind of show you what's wrong with the press and stuff. So we might do that on Friday. I'll kind of have that set up a little bit better. But But today I just have a little bit too much crazy going on for that. Also, when someone borrows your grinder and brings it back with a junk wheel, I still have one somewhere that works. And an unboxing sounds good. Excellent. It's Space Deer High. Yeah. So yeah, I still have it. It's in the box. It's sitting right here. I also have to make sure that, like, you know, I cover the label. When I showed it to you guys, the label was facing me, I believe. But I want to make sure that I, you know, get rid of all of my personal information and whatnot, so that I can, like, turn the box if I need to. So yeah, that's coming Friday, and then we'll also make a short out of it, so that can go up on YouTube. Speaking of shorts, one just dropped at 1:30 today. I have them all scheduled for 1:30. I'm kind of trying to see, like, what's the best time to release them. So there's a new one up. It just came up at 1:30. So you guys can go check that out if you'd like. I've kind of been putting them up in batches, like 3 to 5 at a time. So I'm not entirely sure which one came up. Honestly, I think it is the donut story. When we talked about how you can please some people some of the time, but not everyone all the time. So I think that's a really, really important thing to remember as an artist and a crafter. And so I made sure that I made a short out of it. Let's see. What else is going on today? I don't have my cameras recording yet. I need to turn those on so that I can actually record an intro for this project. So I'm gonna do that real fast. Goodness gracious. I feel like every time I start a stream, it's like this. I'm always a at the beginning, and then I sort of get a handle on things, and then I think I'm all right. Okay, I don't need that camera just yet. It is like 70 degrees here, and so it's actually pretty warm over by the forge. Okay. So today's project is another basic blacksmithing project. It is a leaf. This is one of the very first projects that a brand new blacksmith is going to be taught by an experienced blacksmith. Part of the reason it is such a great project is because there are so many basic techniques that you can teach all in the same project, and it's very beautiful when you're finished with it. So the first thing that you can kind of teach with the leaf is tapers. So there's 2 types of tapers. There's like a triangular taper at the tip so that you can form the V shape on the leaf, and there's also a longer taper where you are drawing down the material, and that is when you are forming the vine that the leaf is attached to. And those are very, very basic, very important, the most important techniques in blacksmithing. Everything has a little bit of a taper and a drawing down process attached to it. There's also isolating of material and creating shelves. Those are also incredibly important techniques to learn. They're very basic. Even an apprentice blacksmith is going to need to learn those techniques. Then there's also spreading of the material and curling, and you can kind of add all kinds of different decorations with it. So I really love blacksmith leaves as a beginner project for young blacksmiths and new blacksmiths. Hey Yankee, welcome in. Thank you for joining us. All right. So I hope that's an all right intro for the project. I've got plenty of things that I can pump in and out and cut and add. So yeah. So let's give Yankee a shout out, because Yankee is an amazing tool restorer, tool specialist, or tool restoration specialist, and he's been playing World of Warcraft lately. So this is his gaming channel. Unauthorized command. Apparently I misspelled it. Let's see if I can do a shout out at Yankee. Is it gonna let me do it this way? No, it's not. Oh, yep, okay. Apparently Frosty has given me an AI shout out for Yankee's channel. Things are sometimes a bit stuttery to me today. Ooh, I'm sorry. It says that my bitrate is pretty decent according to my my readout. So I'm not sure. That is a lot of emotes from that Frosty Tools. There we go. I'm not sure. So yeah, it's great to see you, Yankee. I'm really looking forward to getting back to seeing you planting your seeds and with your, restoring your tools. I'm hoping that soon you'll be, or your arm will start feeling a little bit better. I think it's a Twitch glitch. You're not the only channel that's stuttered. Oh, okay. So that could definitely be a Twitch glitch then. Hopefully we, can stay online. There's been a lot of interesting things going on around the internet, a lot of DTS or DDoS attacks with different websites, and I don't think Twitch is like completely immune to that either. So hopefully everything works out with that. You know what? I have a large amount of cabling that I need to get rid of because it's a tripping hazard. So I'm gonna do a short, or I'm gonna record a short real fast, and I'm gonna teach you about the proper way to coil a cable, right? And I know everyone has their own way of putting cables away, and most people do this guy. This guy is, it's not a very good way to, coil up your cable. It kind of has a tendency to tangle it up, and it has a tendency to kink up all of your cables. So the best way to actually do it is to inside, outside, inside, outside, inside. And now I gotta untangle all of this guy. But if you do the inside-outside method, the beauty of it is that you're actually able to throw your cable out on the ground, and it'll land in a straightaway instead of getting all tangly. And it saves the interior of your cable, and your cable will last a lot longer. So this guy has kind of been sitting on the floor in my shop for quite some time. So unfortunately, it's all kinds of everywhere. KoFi extension cord that I used to hang up my drill. Ooh, my arm is getting a little tired. It's been one of those days today. I had so much stuff that I needed to get done. Today I had to do the dishes, and I had to go and get new propane, and I had to get treats for the babies, you know, the dog and the cat babies, because I don't have any actual babies. All right, so we're gonna spin this around a couple times because it's a little bit twisted. Okay, so inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, or I guess inside this in this case. All right, and I know that it looks a little bit tangly, but if I were to go whoosh, it's all nice and straight. There's no tangles or anything. Or maybe there is this time. But yeah, inside, outside. And I'm dropping other cables. Ooh. My stream is fine. I don't think it's a Twitch issue. Good to know. Follow the coil method, but it takes more time. It definitely does take more time. But like I said, it's definitely something that protects your cables a little bit. You tend not to like get kinks in it as often. Okay. We're gonna actually start doing some blacksmithing now that I am, you know, a little bit more organized. So let's do this. And there we go. So the very first thing that you want to do when you are working with round stock is kind of create a couple flats. And you want to create these flats that your material isn't rocking back and forth and you're getting nice right angles. It's a lot easier to keep all of your work parallel when you are making flats. Alright. It would be nice if I actually had the correct camera on. I'm sorry, guys. So the inside-outside trick is something that I stole from the filmmaking and the audio industry. So I used to work at a facility that did that set up DJs. or DJ booths. And so they taught me the inside-outside method, and so that's how they use for their extension cords, their microphone cables, all of the cables to their speakers, and they last so much longer. I mean, there were cables that we used for like 10 plus years, and it's like we took them all across the area, and usually with a cables that you take all over the place, they don't last very long, a couple years, and then because people are constantly like rolling carts over them, and they're really used and abused. But the inside-outside method actually ends up saving the cables, and they don't go all twisty on you. Yes, that same method is used by concert roadies, and it's beautiful. If you know what you're doing, you can do it really, really fast. Yes, stage people do a lot of cables. But yeah, it's like when the cables inside the insulation twist on themselves, they have a tendency to like rip, because you know your extension cables, they are just bundles of like smaller wire, and when they twist together, they create lots and lots of friction, and it's a lot easier for them to break. So yeah, the inside-outside method is a lot more gentle on the inside of the cables. Now, I will say that if you have cables that are specifically done in a specific method, like some of the cables that I have for like my camera equipment, I have like dummy batteries, and they kind of have a zigzag or like fold to them. And so there's just built-in kinks when I bought them brand new. So I still kind of follow the kinks for those, because the folds are already in those cables. But anytime I get a brand new extension cord, inside outside, best method. Also, by twisting the insulation, it gets shorter and can rip off the plugs. It can. So taking care of your cables is essential for, you know, the film industry, the audio industry, and especially the, you know, like fabrication industry. That's a good word for it, like welders and, you know, grinders and things like that. So I got an ad starting soon, so I'm going to, instead of doing another heat, because I think we have enough heat, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of wait until the timer goes through. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm okay with my camera. I'm thinking through my method and how I want to go about doing this. I'm kind of trying to create full videos in my head and make it a little bit easier for myself when I'm editing things later on, because I spend way too much time editing, and I don't have enough time for other things like making more emotes, or like thinking about different projects and scripting them out. I have a lot of trouble remembering to do some other social media stuff and like developing other platforms, and I need the extra time that I'm not editing to kind of start developing those. So I'm really hoping that if I don't have to look through like 9 hours worth of footage, because I have to look through the VOD for 3 hours, and then I have to look through the wide camera and the anvil camera, 3 hours of footage each, it will cut down significantly on my editing time. All right. So thank you guys for bearing with me. Like I said, I'm a little bit airheady today and disorganized. So I will take a little bit of time between heats to get my thoughts together, as well as, you know, talking to you guys. Oh, that's why I tripped. So I'm really looking forward to Monday's stream because we are going to be using the press to start a new set of tongs. They're going to be universal tongs. And I know that you guys have listened to me complain for months about how I just can't pick up material with these tongs because they're too wobbly. And I just keep complaining and complaining, and then I keep shoving off the project over and over. And so the plan is to start that project on Monday, and I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, let's do a heat. It is very important that, or as a new blacksmith, to know that you don't have to do everything in one heat. When you're new, you're kind of still feeling out the process of blacksmithing. You're kind of trying to judge how long that you have as far as work time. And as a result, a lot of times things take extra heats. So, and that there's no shame in that. It is much better to take an extra heat, come back and finish your task, than try to move material while the metal is still cold. You could crack it. You're not going to get nearly as much efficient movement, and so it is better to get that extra heat than it is to regret it later. Airheaded, I know. Last time my brain took that kind of embarrassing language shortcut. Your forehead skin is not your... Yeah. That's all right. English is a very difficult language, or at least it can be a very difficult language. Okay. I'm gonna check my clip duration just to make sure that I get everything that I need. It looks like I have 20 minutes, so fast so that I have everything I need. I got 11 minutes on this one, but I think I'm gonna flip it anyway. Do I really have a phone call? I am not gonna take this phone call. I'll call them back later. It's not an important phone call. At least when your brain is empty in the evening, I'm sure it is. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like I live in a state of confusion half the time. It's like I have so much stuff going on my brain at any given time. Like, I am thinking, right now, I'm thinking about what I'm saying to you guys. I'm thinking about what I need to do for my next step in the forge. I'm kind of thinking about making sure that the stream is doing well and making sure that I have the recording, the cameras recording the way I need them to. And because I have like 3 or 4 things that are going on in my head all at once, sometimes they all seem to get jumbled together. So I don't know, when I have it, and then I have a tendency of like saying and ah, trying to get my head to catch up with my mouth. And so I'm kind of trying to learn that I just need to allow my brain to buffer. And it's okay. It's okay to allow your brain to buffer. I've been looking at a lot of different crafter and maker and crafter streamers lately. I've been watching a lot of Valencia, a lot of Johnson. I watched Blacksmith Dan. I've been watching several other creators around, and some of the stuff that I've actually kind of come to the conclusion is that I don't think that I want to do TTS for all of my chat, right? I kind of feel like there's a point at which that TTS might actually be good for like to highlight a message, but I feel like if I were to have TTS going on all the time for everyone's comment, I feel like it would be really, really distracting for me, because I have so much going on in my brain, and then I feel like I would need to answer immediately. And we've all seen the last few times I've done punches, that when my brain is not completely focused on what I'm doing, I have a tendency to injure myself. So I really think that that's probably where we're gonna go with the stream. I would like to do TTS for, highlighted messages, like stuff that's really important to you guys, but I don't think I want every single comment to be TTS'd to me, if that makes sense. It's called militia. You have to still keep things in the right order. Yes, you really do. I just have to, it's like multitasking. I've always been really, really good at it. And a lot of my previous jobs have been very eager to take advantage of the fact that I can juggle many jobs all at the same time. But sometimes it just becomes overwhelming. And I really need to learn my limits and allow myself to have limits. So, yeah. That was the word. Yeah, exactly. Okay. We've got plenty of heat on this piece, so let's start again. Let's point out the tip of the leaf. Extra heat. Now I've got a really nice pointy important to get to know your limits and give yourself the grace that you need to make sure that you get to do everything that you need to do and everything gets done. That's not to say that you should procrastinate things. More that you need to be able to organize your thoughts so that you can juggle your activities effectively. So I have a chronic disability is what I'll call it. I have long COVID, and because I have long COVID, I have a lot less stamina than I used to have before I got ill. And as a result, I kind of have to prioritize which things that I want to get done in a day. This stream has helped me so much get some of that stamina back. So I've gotten to the point where I have about 4 hours of working time. But anything beyond that, and I kind of start getting really tired, so I have to kind of prioritize the things that I want to get done in a day. So, you know, if I have a stream, that's the #1 priority, and I have to do that 100%. But then, you know, I also have to, like, you know, shower and run errands and get groceries and clean my house and all of that stuff. So I kind of have to give priorities to, like, different things that I need to do. So today I actually did a little bit more than I probably should have. But I've got a nice day off tomorrow and I'm gonna rest. And then I have an extra day this week because my partner is going to be gone on Saturday. So I have a whole day on Saturday to rest, be alone, and do some of the extra stuff that I had to shove off. But procrastination is my favorite. Procrastination is your favorite. I mean, sometimes, you know, it's really nice to sit down and relax and, you know, shove off some of the extra work that you got to do. But you got to make sure that you're, you know, meeting your deadlines. I kind of feel like if I sat there and procrastinated all the time, then I'd never get streaming done. So I love the fact that I have accountability with you guys. I can't procrastinate like I want to. It's kind of because you guys are there and you're gonna be like, why isn't Ray streaming at the, you know, her scheduled time? And I'm just like, I'm gonna be playing video games. But I mean, I know that you guys are here, so it is beautiful to know that you guys count on me at least a little bit. My partner just made it home. Hi. Home early. My stream is my procrastination. Well, I can imagine that. Maybe. I don't know. So what are you procrastinating when you stream? I mean, because I feel like your stream is kind of a side hustle, Ping. Yeah, everybody say hi to my partner. They went that way though, so they're not in the shop right now. They just passed by the door. I have the door wide open so that I've got lots and lots of ventilation because it's really, really hot today. Okay, we are gonna do another heat real fast. Okay, so we are going to continue isolating out this leaf material. So we hang the leaf off of the edge of the does is that kind of indicates exactly where our leaf is going to start and where the vine for that leaf is going to start. Oh, come on. There we go. I really wish that I had found a piece of square stock, because every time I put the material in the forge, it kind of rolls off to the side. It's a little bit irritating. So I'm going to... Alright. Okay, I've got plenty of time left on those. I think I want one more heat, and then I will probably I will probably stop recording for just a few minutes so that I can get to another point where I need to show my work, I guess. I noticed that I'm losing a lot of heat out the front of my forge, and the reason that I put bricks in front of the opening of my forge is so that I can kind of close in that opening. So I open it just enough so that I can stick the end of the material out, but I close it enough that all of that extra heat I can efficiently use my heat. If I close it, then less of the heat escapes and more of it swirls around in the vortex inside of the forge and creates a much hotter flame inside of the forge. Irritating is one of those false friends with German. So does irritating not mean the same thing in German than it does in English? Irritation means to confuse. Okay. Irritation in English is like a mild frustration. So, like if your skin is irritated, it's like a rash. So it kind of itches or burns. And irritation in life is like if someone is being irritating, they're kind of picking on you a little bit. Not enough to make you angry, but enough to kind of annoy you a little bit, if that makes sense. Languages are interesting. For German, that sounds like a confused skin. I mean, you know, your skin can get relatively confused. It's like the sensation, your skin doesn't like it. It kind of makes your nerves confused a bit. You'd agree with my translation, Ping? That's good. Sometimes I'm not amazingly good at describing or, you know, about, or like, at defining my words. In history of language, it once must have been the same. Well, so English as it currently sits is a Romantic language that's based out of Latin. Like French and Spanish and Portuguese. But I really feel like English took a lot out of its Germanic heritage. The Vikings kind of had and the, you know, Anglo-Saxons kind of had a very Germanic language root. And a lot of English is a mashing together of like that Germanic root along with the Latin. And I really feel like that makes English a really difficult language to learn. So, you know, a lot of people whose first, or like where English is their second, third, fifth language, they say that English is the hardest one for them to learn because there are so many like weird exceptions to rules and idioms and things that it's a very difficult language to learn and understand. So, I mean, if you're understanding me and English is your second language, or like, you know, less than, you know, you're not as fluent in it, then, I mean, congratulations. English is such a hard language to learn. Another one is actually and actual, the latter meaning recent or up to date. Actually. That's one of those words that I'm not entirely sure how I would define it. That's a difficult one. Actually. The way I tend to use it is in reality. So, I would say like an idiom or something, you know, something that's not as precisely true. And then what I would say actually, then I would reiterate a more precise method of thinking about what I'm trying to say. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure. That's a hard one. That one is a hard one. Have you tried learning German grammar? Those who tried will say that English is rather easy. Really? I don't know. Like when I was in high school, I took Spanish as my second language, and then like in college, I also took Spanish as a second language, and I never actually got all that fluent with it. So because I didn't have anyone to kind of immerse myself with. So I know a couple words here and there, but like I never got completely fluent in any language. So no, I have not actually learned, well, I have not learned German. Yes, exactly, but if you hear it from a German native speaker, there is a high chance that they actually mean up to date. That's interesting. That's interesting. Okay. I got about 4 minutes before my next commercial break according to my timers, so I'm going to do another eat. Struggle bussing with this piece of material today. I've got, not only do I have the shaky tongs, but the roundness it's kind of like rolling all over inside the forge. And so I'm kind of losing my material towards the, you know, behind my bricks. The English grammar is so much easier. I don't know. I think it's a little bit on the confusing side, if I'm completely honest. But like I said, I have never studied German, so maybe German is really difficult. I know that it is a lot easier too to learn a language to like speak and understand it than it necessarily is to read it and write it. So, you know, a lot of people are more fluent but not literate in a lot of different languages. I know that a lot of the Asian languages are a little bit more difficult to learn the grammar as far as literacy, because if you start with a Romantic or Germanic language as a base, the letters and words themselves are they're shaped completely different. It's so foreign. So I kind of feel like that's kind of the case a little bit as well. I actually heard that modern Korean language, like the language or like the written language in South Korea, it is one of the easiest languages to become literate in because it is a modern language. One of the more modern monarchs that ruled in Korea created it with some scholars, and so it kind of takes into consideration a lot of more modern conventions as far as grammar and language is concerned. English, the rules are hard, but the language is easy. Tons of content from videos, TV, movie, radio, podcasts. Exactly. It is so easy to immerse yourself in the English language. It's like all you gotta do is, go to YouTube, and most of the videos on YouTube or TikTok are actually in English. And part of that is because English is the language of business, so a lot of other countries will teach their children English so that they can succeed. And I'm not entirely sure it's going to stay like that, but there's some other countries that are very up and coming. So yeah, we do have an interest in teaching English. Okay, now that I have my ad going, I think I'm going to turn off the recording and do a couple heats where I am continuing to kind of squish in the transition between the leaf itself and the vine. Let's see. Man, it's getting warm in here. I cannot imagine how bad it's going to be this summer because it's only like 75 degrees today. I'm definitely not looking forward to summer in the shop, at least. I feel like I'm going to have to be very careful about what I'm wearing because I tend to sweat through my clothes a lot. And yeah, most of my clothes are really dark colors, but I do have a shirt here and there that are light colors. And I also know that the dye on my leather apron, it has a tendency to kind of stain my clothes when it gets wet. And I don't want to ruin my clothes by dyeing them yellow, like my light colored clothes. And not only that, yes, there is the whole, if you sweat through a white shirt, it's kind of see-through, and, it would be kind of embarrassing to, sweat through my shirt, or my white shirt, and you guys could see underneath of it. 40 degrees in New Hampshire. That is not as cold, it's still relatively nice for this time of year, but it's not. It's a lot colder than it is here. I think I would definitely have to wear a sweatshirt if it were 44 degrees. home has kind of thrown off my sense of time a little bit. We've only actually been streaming for about an hour, so we've got plenty of time together. I was like, has it been that long, that quickly? And no, we have plenty of time together. I was kind of, you know, a little sad because I feel like we haven't spent enough time together today, but we have another half of the stream. I'm excited. If your viewer count shoots up unexpectedly, check your shirt. Exactly, right? The hazards of forging in the heat. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe it would be a good thing if people would come here and they actually like it and they'll stay, right? So, you know, as long as I don't get, like, you know, banned for it, you know? All right, we're gonna do another heat. Goodness gracious, the piece of material wanted to slide out of the forge because it's back heavy. It's heavier on this end than the end that's in the forge, so it just wants to like slide right out. What's a good thing that I can do? How about I take another piece of material out of my scrap bins? You guys want to see another piece of scrap out of the scrap bins? And we can kind of talk about it a little bit? Does that sound like fun for you guys? What do I got? What is something interesting? How about this guy? This guy is a piece of flat sheet, and it's kind of got a curve to it. So this is kind of an interesting piece. I actually kind of really enjoyed making this project. It actually goes like this, and so I don't know, what do you guys think this is? Why not? So this guy it's been in the scrap for quite a while, so it's kind of rusty, but yeah, it kind of goes like this. It could also go like this, so it's kind of multi-directional, depending on how it's affixed to the other pieces that are included in this piece. So this is one piece out of two pieces Or I guess you could also consider it 4 pieces because I had to make 2 of these objects. A shoulder plate, a sail. Those are both good guesses. I think ping is a little bit closer. So let me see. I had a whole one that was in the scrap a little bit ago. Let me see if I can't find it. There it is. So this is a whole one of these. This guy right here is this piece right here. So you guys might not be able to figure or like tell what this is without its straps, but this is actually a knee cup. It's a piece of armor. And I started this project for the SCA, and I did a demo for them. They do a lot of heavy armor, like fighting with rattan sticks. And so when you're doing heavy fighting, they require you to have knee pads, elbows, and a girdle to armor to kind of protect you a bit. And this guy is one out of the 2 knee pads that you would need. And this guy right here is half of one. So this is one, and if I turned it this way, this would be the other, or like a quarter of the material. So you'd have 2 of them. SCA is probably not static code analysis in this case. So yeah, the SCA is the Society for Creative Anachronism. So they are Renaissance reenactors. So they have chapters all across the world. So there's several in the United States, there's some in Asia, in the United Kingdom, in the European Union. They're all over the place. And they have these get-togethers where different chapters will like compete and have these big events. And so I did a demo for one of their events, and we were doing armoring. So I brought a whole bunch of people to my little shop area, and it was a workshop, and they were able to make a set of knee cops during my class. So that's what that was from. A couple extra pieces. I love making armor, although I barely have ever done any. I'm currently working on Eridan's helmet from the Witcher series for my brother's cosplay. That is so cool. I have always wanted to make a full set of armor for cosplay. One time I wanted to do Urza Scarlet from Fairy Tail, the anime, and another time I really wanted to do Din Djarin from The Mandalorian. I also really wanted to do Captain Phasma from The Force Awakens. I never got a chance to do all of those. I did do a few pieces of the Urza set though. But yeah, armor is so much fun. And we will probably do some on this channel at some point in the future. But it has to be done on the coal forge because I just can't fit the pieces inside this one. So I'm looking forward to doing a few pieces of armor for you guys. And we're gonna do another heat, and I should probably actually. Those sound like very fun projects. They would have been very fun projects if I'd actually followed through. sci-fi armor is something I don't ever think about, but it's very interesting because they don't necessarily follow the rules of armor design. Exactly, they don't. And because it's kind of like in sci-fi, the material of the armor doesn't actually have to be metal, right? You could like vacuum mold, plastics, or, there are sci-fi metals that you can make your armor from. So they behave much different, or they can behave much differently than like fantasy armor, which has to have at least a little bit more of a realistic design. So I do find it really entertaining to look at the different sci-fi armors and really kind of study those designs. I also really enjoy like just turning certain detail pieces that are not actually made out of metal into metal. So I did a Second Sister Imperial Inquisitor costume for a cosplay to kind of prove that I could get into the 501st Star Wars reenactment Legion, and I did a lot of like metal accents for that piece. So I did the belt buckle and all of the Imperial insignias. I did it all in sheet metal, and I welded the belt buckle up, and it's a really cool looking belt buckle. So that was a lot of fun. And then I did a Skyrim Nightingale costume, and I can't wear that costume anymore because it got water damaged and molded. But the Nightingale symbol, I made that out of steel, sheet steel, and then I also made that belt buckle in sheet steel. And then I also did the little rivets around the collar, and it was really, really cool. My former boss designed a handbag made out of metal. Doubles as self-defense. Oh, I can imagine, You got your mugger and they're like trying to steal your handbag, and they let go and you're just like wham. Use it like a mace or a hammer. Last year at the Red Fest, I saw a mashup of a medieval knight with a Mandalorian helmet. It was incredible. Yeah, I have seen some of those. There's some artists that will do like Star Wars in different like realistic metals. So I've seen them do medieval armor. I've seen them do like chainmail-esque stuff, and then I've also seen them in like Eastern armors, like samurai armor. And that is always so much fun to look at. I love looking at that. The designs are just so ingenious. Okay, I'm gonna turn the record function back on my cameras real fast, and we're gonna do a couple more heats. Because we're gonna start drawing down those vines. Oops. And it helps if I actually change the camera. So we have started doing we've started doing two different types of tapering. So we've got that tip where it's all nice and pointy, and we're establishing the tip of that lovely leaf shape. We want to kind of have a triangular leaf shape, and then we've also started drawing down the material behind the leaf, so the vine or like the stem of the leaf. And those are very similar techniques and stuff that you really need to learn as a beginner blacksmith. I would love to see pictures of stuff like that. I know a lot of the pictures that I've seen of the medieval Star Wars armor have been AI generated or created by a visual artist, like a 3D modeler or a painter, and I don't think I've actually seen any of them done in real life. But if you've got pictures of a real life piece of helmet or a piece of armor in that style, I would love to see it. Maybe this is deliberate, but your microphone is much quieter in the anvil close-up, letting you know. Yep. So I have bought my microphone system the entire time I've been streaming, and I got to this point where every time I tried to fix it, it would break something worse. And so I just got to this point where I needed to take a step back from the sound problem and reassess it, see if I can't come up with another way of addressing it. Maybe, someone might show up and tell me, the solution, or, maybe I'll be able to find it on YouTube. But I just haven't been able to find a solution that hasn't broken things. So what I've got is I've got this capture card, right? And this is the G-Stream M2, and you can kind of see, or I do have a link for it. And so basically, the capture card will capture the sound coming from each of my cameras specifically, and then there's also a port in here where I can specifically put sound and it will pump through here, right? But when I pump it from the capture card into OBS, it considers all of that as one source. So I get a lot of echo, right? So if I put the lav mic into the capture card, then whatever is on the cameras themselves kind of mixes and echoes together. So I'm kind of still trying to figure out a good solution. My last one was I was trying to put the lav mic directly into my laptop through the headphone jack, because a headphone jack can be used as a microphone jack too. And it kind of didn't function correctly, so I didn't get any sound. And I think what we're actually starting to suspect is that maybe I need a different adapter to turn it considering the lav mic to be from headset to a microphone. So we'll get there. I do think the main mic needs to go down. It was, okay, so this one. So is the lav mic too loud? Is that what's happening? Maybe if I do that. Is that better? It looks like I'm not peaking quite as bad. Is it too loud now? That's better? Okay, that's awesome. I'm glad you let me know that it's too loud. So much better. Okay, thank you for letting me know. 'Cause Yeah, I can't tell until I go back to the VOD, and then, like, I don't necessarily notice because I don't watch back the whole VOD. I just kind of like pick and choose the little places here and there. You could even go down a bit more. All right. How's that? Is that better? It looks like I'm not reaching the red anymore. It's mostly the yellow. So I guess I'm definitely not peaking at all. Okay, excellent. All right, I will make sure that I leave that as the level for our mic. Thanks for letting me know. Because, like I said, I don't always know exactly. So, yeah, this weekend I'm going to look at getting in an adapter for the headphone jack. So maybe I can pump the lav mic in through the computer. That way I can throw down the source on the capture card, and then everything will be from the lav mic. So that is the new theory on what's going on with my sound. Okay. I'm gonna do another heat real fast. Oh, you keep yours in the middle of the yellow. That makes sense. We're gonna go to the horn of the anvil. And start thinning down this vine. We're starting to get there. We're going to bring it back a little bit further. I want that a little bit longer. Yeah, I should know better than to not let it constantly be peeking into the red like that. Because I did work it as a sound operator for quite a few years, and I guess I think that it's actually been kind of getting louder as I go, a little bit at least. I hope that doesn't make the video editing hard, but it's worth it on this end. No, it's not going to make it hard at all. I just need, because like I'm actually recording onto the lav mic itself, right? So I don't actually use the sound from the VODs. So that way I can but I need the camera, the audio from the camera so that I can sync up the good sound to what's happening on the visuals, if that makes sense. That way, when you see me on the wide talking, the sound matches my lips when they move. It's kind of jarring when you got that desync going. And that's why, lag is a pain in the butt. So yeah, I definitely want to see if I can't pump the sound directly into the computer and not through the capture card. And I think that'll help me a lot. Because if I can take the sound from the capture card and I can shove it all the way down so I can mute that, and then we'll get a different source for the lav mic that's in directly to the computer. So I'm really hoping that that fixes our problem. And I'd like to do that this weekend if I can manage it. I think that it's actually only going to take a little adapter. So I've got this cable that goes directly from the lav mic receiver to the camera, and it only has one ring on it. It's like a 3-in-1 ring, and I think that if I get a separated adapter, then it will function correctly. I'm hoping it does anyway. Alright, so I got a minute 30 between now and when the timer says that I'm going to get ads, so I think I should be able to get a full heat done. Let's do that real fast. I don't want to... Back to the horde. Long. I think I'm going to start cutting it off about here, and we'll get a little bit more length so that we can get a nice curl in there. But before we do that, I think we're going to flatten out this leaf. Shape it a little bit. So I think it's kind of funny that you guys asked me about sound today, because I spent all lunchtime talking to my partner about ways that we could kind of fix the sound a little bit better. Because I've kind of been talking a lot about improving the stream recently, and I know that the sound has been an issue since the very beginning of my stream, and I really want to get that on lock. The cameras, I really love the quality of the cameras that we've got right now. But my main issue is sound, and sound is so important with streaming. If you guys can't hear what I'm talking about, then it kind of defeats the whole purpose. So I was asking, you know, if my partner had any other like tips or ideas and things that I could possibly use. And that's the one that he came up with, is maybe if we pump the sound directly into the computer and bypass the capture card itself, then we should be able to get nice clean sound for you guys the whole time. But I had tried that previously, and it kind of treated my lav mic as a set of headphones instead of a microphone. And so I'm really trying to kind of figure out a way to like fix that. And he mentioned that there were adapters that would have multiple rings instead of a universal ring. So hopefully I can pick one up and plug it in and it'll function correctly. Yep, I've got ads going, I know. I can repeat this if you guys need me to. I am gonna check my cameras real quick to make sure that I've got plenty of room on the clips. And I'm gonna flip it, just to be sure I've got it, and I don't lose any. Welcome in, Dark. Welcome in, Dark. Hello. All right, so to reiterate what I was saying when the ad started, I've really been trying hard to kind of think about what I need to do to fix my sound. And we think that if I plug it into a better adapter, we'll be able to set the computer to treat my lav mic as a microphone instead of as a headphones. And then we'll be able to get the lav mic like this sound all the time. So that is the goal. Material in, give ourselves a nice flat that we can change our hammer from our flat base hammer to a cross peen hammer. We can use this cross peen hammer to kind of shove the material in horizontal instead of vertical directions, and we can kind of control it a little bit better this way. I'll just lurk around for a moment. I'll be hitting bed soon. All right, welcome. Thank you for the lurk, Dark. I hope you sleep well. Next heat, we're going to start using our cross peen hammer. And the cross peen hammer, I always talk about the cross peen hammer. It's my favorite hammer because it's very directional. It'll move the metal perpendicular with the handle of this particular hammer, it'll move the metal more perpendicular than it will, It'll move the metal more parallel to the handle of this hammer than it will perpendicular. So we get a lot of horizontal movement, and we can really start flattening out spade shapes. And it works beautifully for spatulas, for forks, anything that's got a very skinny but very wide section of metal on it. It is my favorite hammer, this guy. And I've got this really nice broad face on here too, so I can kind of flip the hammer around and, you know, get that wide draw as well as that very directional draw. And that is what I love about this hammer. Back on the face of the anvil, hammering with our cross peen right in the center. By hammering in the center, we're kind of creating an hourglass profile. If you were to cut this guy right down the middle, you kind of see it pinching in the middle and widening out along the edges. You're going to be able to get a lot more horizontal movement by starting in that way. And I've lost my heat, so we're going back in the forge. So I really want to make a good video about this particular piece, but I've already got a nice leaf video, so I'm debating if I can just do a video on leaves and then leave them both up. One's better, or will probably be better than the other, and I think that's probably what I'm gonna do for a while. Yeah. I do a lot of I try to do a lot of videos with our work, something that's a little bit easier to watch than just the straight VODs. I think watching the VODs live can be fun because then we've got that nice back and forth talking in, you know, between all of us as a community. But I feel like the live stream, you kind of lose the tutorial-esque part of it because we've got all of that interruption. So when I edit the videos down, you kind of get that nice condensed tutorial-esque version of things. And I really actually like that. My nose is starting to itch. What else do I have that I can talk about? Like I said, I was a little bit disorganized today when I started our stream because I thought that I was going to do one thing, and so I put all my eggs in the basket, and then I lost an essential tool, and now I kind of have to reformat the whole stream. So I don't have my normal topics on my whiteboard because they're not, you know, they're not about the right thing. They're not about the right topic. So for this piece, this leaf piece, I think I'm gonna turn it into a keychain. I've got some split rings in the house, and I think it would be really fun to take a split ring and put the leaf on there. And then maybe we can hang it up next to the paper clip. And I think that would be a lot of fun. But I think if I'm gonna start doing a lot of stuff, we'll have to wait a little bit until we can get into the corner where I've got a little bit more space to display things. I also have these nice shelves over here, but you guys can't see those. I've got a nice display in my cold shop of all of the different pieces of work that I've done in there, but I don't have any like good display areas in this shop. Just read out your prepared talking points. Simply do something completely different. It might be interesting. That would be kind of interesting. So the talking points that I was actually going to do is I was going to show, where did I put that? I think I actually put them over there. So for a split cross, you use a tiny little section of steel about yay big, and you cut it vertically on one end all the way to the halfway mark, and you cut it horizontally on the other end also to the halfway mark. So you're kind of making a twisted H a little bit. And then you cut off one of the little legs from that H to kind of give yourself a little bit of a short area. And the short area is it ends up turning into the head of the cross. So you got the top that's shorter than the arms and the legs, and then it creates that cross material instead of a plus. So then you heat up the material and you flatten it out. You unfold all of those cuts and it creates a shape of a cross. So that was my first bullet point. All right, and we're gonna do a heat real fast. An unrelated heat. right now we kind of have a nice or like a really sharp cutoff right here along the back. So I kind of want to see if I can't like round that off a bit. So we're gonna, on our next heat, we're gonna take it to the edge of the anvil and kind of shape that leaf a little bit better. I can do two explanations at the same time, right? So my next thought for the Friedrich's cross was actually going to be to take the camera and move it over to the vise. There is a hilarious old German sketch in which the reporter has a guest in the studio. He expects him to be an astronaut, but instead it turns out to be an administrative officer. The reporter just goes through his questions. What was the maximum height you ever worked at? Well, we were at the 3rd floor now. Were you ever afraid to get back down from there? No. And you do not think your job is incompatible with family life? No. That would be a really funny sketch. Because yeah, it's like those are really unusual questions that you would be asking an office manager. It's like, are you afraid to go down the elevator? So yeah, it would be kind of funny to do like a voiceover video where I'm explaining something and then like have the visuals be something completely different. I mean, we could totally do that for like April Fools, because it does sound like an April Fool's joke almost, you know? I feel like I have a few weeks left before April Fools though. You know, maybe a couple weeks. I guess I have like 2 weeks left maybe. Are we in the 2nd week of March? I think we are. My mom's birthday was yesterday. What was the maximum speed you ever reached? Well, my car can reach up to. Thank you for being here. Exactly. So yeah, my mom's birthday is like mid-March and it kind of creeped up on me. I was not expecting it, not at all. So yeah, I was gonna take my little piece of metal over to the vise and I was gonna cut it apart and do all of the little cuts. And then I was gonna put it into the forge and unfold it. And I was gonna talk about the importance of learning how much heat you need to move metal, and because a Friedrich's cross is a great beginner or like a great first project, so that you can kind of get to know how hot the forge is, how hot the metal gets, and you know, sometimes if you're using a coal forge, you get it too hot and it starts melting. The gas forge actually does not allow the metal to melt inside of it. The propane and oxygen mix within a propane forge oftentimes does not allow the material to melt. So I kind of feel like a gas forge is a lot easier to start with than a coal forge. Because if you leave your metal in there too long, you don't have to worry about it falling off of the stick and losing all of your work and your progress. So that is partially why I use a gas forge when I am streaming, because I get really into talking to you guys. And so I get to this point where it's like I've been talking for like 20 minutes and I haven't pulled the metal out. And if I was using a coal forge, the metal or like our work would have actually burned off by now. And so instead I use the gas forge, so I don't have to worry about that. All right, let's do another heat. You know what? I have not been paying attention to my activity filter. So if anybody has been following, I've missed it. So thank you for following if you followed and I missed it. I always appreciate followers. So we are kind of back on track with things to talk about, at least a little bit. We are also almost to the point where we're finished with the leaf itself. I think that I'm gonna shape it, and then we're gonna take it to we'll probably actually take it over here to the swage block and give it a little bit of a shape. I've been making a lot of really flat leaves lately, and a lot of leaves, like blacksmith leaves, they have a little bit more of a shape, like a cup, or like a natural swoop in them, and it makes them a lot more lifelike. So I really like doing that with my leaves. Another thing that a lot of blacksmiths will do with their leaves is they will take a chisel. So something like this guy, they'll take a chisel and they'll kind of create artificial veins inside of their leaves. So it kind of creates a little bit more life, energy, and it kind of denotes that they're leaves. So I like doing that sometimes too. The thing you have to remember if you are putting artificial leaves into your leaf, or I mean artificial veins into your leaf, is that you need to create those veins before you shape your leaf. Otherwise you'll lose them. Or I guess you won't be able to create them because you don't have a flat surface to use the chisel on. So yeah. The beauty of making really thin pieces of metal or like metal work is that it takes no time at all to kind of thin them out or to kind of heat them back up, because they're so thin, there's just not a lot of material there. I will have to move to bed. Thank you and have a nice day. Well, have a nice night and sleep well, bread. Or basic salad sandwich. Well, I don't know why. I guess sandwiches have bread, and that's where my brain went, so I apologize for that. Have a lovely evening, basic salad sandwich. Thank you for joining us today. You can also call me bread. Just please avoid BSS sandwich or basic SS. Yeah, I try to actually ask people what they prefer. So if you have a preference on like what you want me to call you, let me know. Sandwich might be like, would definitely be up there for like my default. So if there's something that you prefer, let me know, and I will try to remember to call you by that name. When I'm playing video games and I meet a new person, I have a tendency to kind of look at their name and shorten it to like the first 3 letters of their name, But if they choose, you know, if they ask me to call them something else, I try to respect that. It's okay, just not BS and no SS. That makes sense, because I mean, BS stands for a thing, a very plain thing, and so does SS. The lid on my cup is not wanting to stay on today. Okay, cool. So I think the next thing that I'm going to do for our piece is I'm actually going to cut it off. And because I don't have a cutoff, I'm going to use the corner of my anvil. So I'm gonna move the material over the edge, and we're just gonna keep on hammering it. It's gonna squish that in and make a really messy cut in it. Guess I'm lucky with my 4 letters. Well, I mean, your 4 letters is a word. You know, dark is a complete word. I try, and if I call you by something that you would prefer I not call you, let me know. I will change. It's very important to me to call people by their preferred names. Alright, so over to the edge of the anvil, and we're going to hammer really hard on there. Very sharp cut there. So when it's thin enough here at that corner, we're going to take a piece of, or a second set of tongs, and we're going to kind of rip it off. So that's what we're going to do right now. Here's another set of tongs. And it's not wanting to rip off, so we can kind of make it a little bit easier by hammering it back and forth. And that's going to kind of give us a little bit of an easier time ripping it off. And now we've got a bar and a leaf. Whoops. So the bar goes in the quench tank. And the leaf goes back in the forge. This direction. Oh, I already have changed my camera, it looks like. Ting ting or ting tang walla walla bing bing. I could call you that if you'd like, Bing. Ting tang walla walla bing bing. Nice leaf. Well, thank you. I've never been amazingly good at leaves, but I think I'm getting a little bit more comfortable forging overall, and I think that it's actually helping my leaves quite a bit. I have always been a lazy blacksmith, and I know that every time I talk about basic blacksmith projects, I tell you to do 100 of each project. So, you know, 100 leaves, 100 hooks, 100 pieces of silverware. And you know what I don't do? I don't do 100. So it's one of those do as I say, not as I do things. And as a result, I am not as proficient or as quick as people who have actually done that and have that muscle memory in there. So it's one of those things where I just get really bored really easily. I did actually do 100 silverwares though, because I ended up selling those. I had a commission for, you know, a lot of silverware, and I did make those. No ping is fine. Good. I'm glad I haven't been naming you all of this time. So yeah, it's one of those things where I really feel like at some point it would be very good of me to go back and actually do 100 hooks and 100 leaves and stuff. But I've always been more, a little bit more inclined to do sculptural things instead of the basics. And I feel like that hasn't really served me. Ping, can we use you for Ray's stream? No ping, low ping, or high ping? That's funny. Although high ping sounds really fun. When you like shove it together, it's like hype. Like one of the hype trains that people get sometimes. That would be a fun emote for you, Ping. If you got a hype train, you could be like high ping train. And you could have like an emote. Or hype for your raids. That would also be a fun way to denote them. I don't know what you could do for low ping though. Low ping, low ping. I don't know. I need to come up with some more emotes. But like I said, I've been doing way too much in the way of editing, and I haven't had time to do them yet. I do like streams when you can hear the ping of something. Axe pings, forge pings, exactly. That ping sound, it's very soothing, or at least it can be. As long as you're not the one doing it without hearing protection, because that's actually relatively painful. If I took off my headphones and I was forging with it or like that, it would not be pleasant. For a really long time, I tried my best to, or like I actually was doing things like that without my headphones, and I actually lost a lot of hearing that way. Hearing protection, so important. So is safety glasses, eye protection, ear protection. And I'm gonna flip my clips. And I have a lot of extra footage today. I did not do very well on the whole only capturing what I need to capture this time. Yankee has one that sings the sound of a ping. It nearly cut his leg off, I heard. Ooh. That's awful. Or a flying pan ping sound. That's when my ex was angry. You got the frying pan ex? That's sad. You gotta be really careful about that, you know? All right. Let's do another heat. So we're gonna straighten this out. It's a little bit bent, and that's going to make it harder for us to kind of thin this material out. I can dodge a bullet. Pan's too slow to get me. That makes sense. Large pans, they fly really awkwardly too. They kind of have a wobble to them. How about a bullet train? I don't know. What do you think, Dark? Would you like to drive a bullet train? Be a conductor of one? I kind of feel like that, for me, that would be really, really scary because they go so fast, you know? But I guess they're on a little bit more secure of tracks, usually. I think it would be harder to derail one, maybe. But you definitely know way more about trains than I do, so I don't know. Is a mag train or a bullet train, is that easy to derail? I'd watch that stream. Really, really fast. That would be so fast. I don't know. I had things I wanted to talk about. It's getting really warm in here. Like really, really warm. But we're almost done with our leaf, so I should be able to cool it down in here a little bit by turning off the forge. I think here shortly we're actually going to have to start bringing out the industrial fan. I've got it. It's over there. It's like a giant caterpillar fan, and I can like turn it so that it blows straight on me. I think those are impossible to derail. Yeah, like I said, I don't know much about trains overall, but I do kind of feel like, I think I saw one time like that they have these like weird clampy things that kind of grab onto the underside, and so that would make it really hard to derail. But I mean, I kind of feel like at some point they have to be able to derail them so that they can like put them on the tracks and like take them out of service. So maybe they have like a lever or something, you know? That would make some sense. Right. Oh, can I open the door, or is that a dock sphere? Okay, so if I open the... Yeah, okay, so right now, because my partner's work vehicle is on this side, you can actually see the license plate. And I want to make sure that, or like, so I can, my truck sits over there. So if I were to open it when my partner is gone, it would be fine. But because of where my partner's vehicle or like work vehicle sits, you'd be able to see the license plate, and that would be kind of doxy. So I don't know. Let's see if I can't. Let's do this. Let me know if this is like too much sound, if this is like too loud. Can you guys hear that? I've got the industrial fan going. I hope it's not too bad for you guys. But you can kind of see some of the stuff. It's like the leaves are blowing this way. Not so bad. Okay, cool. It is good to know that I can, or I'll be able to use it. Move it that way a little bit. The only issue I have with the fan, though, is that it makes the steel cool a little bit faster. Okay, let's try this. So goodbye, good night, and thank you for the stream. Have a great evening, Dark. Sleep well. Thank you for joining us. Cleanest floor yet, exactly. Noisy but can still hear me, okay. I'll get some good material to upload and just the engine running. That'll be fun. I would enjoy that. So yeah, I apologize for the extra sound, but like I said, it's getting really hot in here today. I think it'll be all right. Okay. Got plenty of heat. Let's do that last bit of drawing down. So we're trying to put a point on that very end. So for our next heat, we're going to round this guy out this way by getting rid of all of the corners, and then we're going to start scrolling it. It's on the edge. I can hear the forge, but it's drowned out. It sounds great on the anvil cam. All right. I'm sorry about that. I will have to figure this one out. This is another problem I'm going to have to address with my sound. It's fine. Okay. Because, yeah, we're definitely going to have to turn the fan on and open the garage door later on in the year when it gets to be like really hot in the summer. It gets up to like 90, 100 degrees out here. And with the forge, it's just way too hot. So I definitely need the industrial fan. Starting to cook in here. So when it gets really, really hot, I'm gonna need more than one water. So I'll probably have multiple glasses. Ferris is rating. Welcome in everybody. Thank you so much for the raid. I'm Ray Smithy and I am a blacksmith. Right now we are working on a series of basic blacksmithing projects. Thank you for joining us. Do I got a shout out? We do have a shout out. Thank you so much. Welcome in. Welcome in. So like I said, we are running a series of basic blacksmith projects. We just finished doing a basic J-hook last Monday, or like on Monday, and then today we've been working on doing kind of an overview of leaves, basic blacksmith leaves. So we're almost finished with our leaf, and then on Friday I have plans on doing a Frederick's cross. So we're really looking forward to that, and welcome in. On Monday, our new project is going to be a set of bolt tongs, and we're going to use our press for that guy. I'm really looking forward to it. My press has been non-functional for quite some time recently, and we had an amazing donor, Mahalo. He donated the money to fix the press and get that up and running again, so thank you, Mahalo. Thank you guys all for your follows. Thank you, Proferis and Geek Smithing. Welcome in. And Ping also does stream. He streams in the zoological and aquarium subject, and he streams the bird feeders in the squirrel feeders in his backyard, and sometimes he streams games. He's got a really great stream. It's very ASMR. I really like watching it because he plays like jazz music, and it's really soothing when I'm doing a lot of really mind-numbing work, like editing stuff. So you should also check out Ping's stream. Oh, that was about how cool my emotes are. All right. Cryptozoology would be a fun subject to do a stream on. 5 Mike, thank you so much for the follow. Yeah, we do have some cool emotes. I need to make some more though. I really like the animated ones that we've been able to do. I have an idea for another emote, and I'd like to actually, get about doing it. So we might actually make that here soon. So hopefully maybe it'll be free to use on, or free out of Twitch jail on Monday, hopefully. So we are ready to do another heat. And I forgot what I was up to, so I did not put all of my anvil together. I'd have everything ready for myself. apologize for the difference of sound. I have two different microphones that are pumping in through my capture card, and it gets a little bit confused. I'm working on a solution for that. I should have it relatively soon, hopefully. Cryptozoology is the coolest word. I hope that's a real thing. Wow, it is. Yeah, cryptozoology is definitely a thing. It is the study of, like, cryptids and monsters and stuff in a, like, more scientific way. So it's a lot of fun to actually, like, read papers about and stuff like that. I'm really kind of a nerdy when it comes to science and stuff. I like to read papers, and I like to do, learn all about all kinds of things, little pieces of trivia here and there. And my favorite thing to learn about is actually metallurgy. And so all of the different things I can learn about how metal works, and then I can pull them into my blacksmithing. It is so much fun. So it's starting to get really, really hot in the shop right now. It is about 76 degrees outside, and with the forge, it's getting closer to 90, 100. So I've got the industrial fan going. So if you hear it, I apologize, but I kind of need it. We've got the door that's over there wide open, and I'd have the garage door open, but right now there's a car out there and the license plate would be visible. So unfortunately I cannot move, or I can't open the garage right now. Should it be blowing out? Part of it, or I usually have the fan blowing on me. That way when I start sweating, I get that extra cool breeze on me. And that usually keeps me pretty cool. But it does also, I do also risk cooling off my metal much faster by having the fan blow directly on or towards me, because I stand in front of the, I have the anvil in front of me. So, I don't know, there might be a time where I move it, and we'll see where I can position it so that it's not terribly loud, but pumping in on me and making sure that I've got enough ventilation and keep cool. Man, I've almost gone through 32 ounces of water today. I feel like it's not enough. All right, we got plenty of heat now, so we're gonna do another heat. We're gonna continue to put the veins in our leaf. We're starting in on the end of our stream. So I don't have much time left, but we will raid off to another amazing crafter. If you guys have any suggestions on who to raid, let me know. We've got a few more heats left though. I'd like to finish out my veining, kind of shape my leaf, and then also scroll the vine that's attached to it. So I'm thinking maybe 3 more heats. But we've got plenty of time to talk. So Pyroferris, what sort of things do you stream? Or if you're not here, maybe your community can help me out. I kind of missed what FrostyBot explained. So yeah, you should let me know what you guys were doing. I kind of have sometimes I miss chat when it starts going really fast, because I use my when the metal is in the forge, I use that to kind of answer the questions and talk with people. If he is AFK, I can tell you that he is a woodworker. Thank you, Bungalow Glow. A woodworker. That is exciting. I wish I could work with wood. I'm really bad at it. I kind of feel like it would be really cool if I could work with wood, because then I could like do a lot better with the tops of my furniture. I have in the past done a lot of furniture with wooden tops, but I always struggle so badly with woodworking. So I greatly respect woodworkers. I know that everybody has their own specialty, but you know, I am still jealous of woodworkers. All right, let's get some more veining on this piece. Gotta be real careful that we don't move our lines, that we kind of pay good attention to where we place them the last heat. So I've got a swage block over here, but I have a whole bunch of junk all over it. Gotta clean it off so I can actually use it. And then while I'm moving around, I'm gonna check my clips. Ooh, you guys can see a bag in the bottom. That's kind of distracting. All right, so over here I have a swage block, and so basically that's a giant piece of steel that has divots in there. They're like holes. Oh, I got an ad going, or at least starting soon. while the ad's going, let's move the swage block over so you guys can kind of see it. Just gonna kind of leave it in there like so. So this guy is a swage block, and I'll definitely go over this again when we're not in an ad time. I like to make sure that that my ad timer is timed down so everybody can see all my heats. Because sometimes the ads they go a little bit longer than other times, it seems. This one. So it looks like I got about 30 seconds left on this ad, and once the ad is done, we will take a look at the swage block, and then we will use it to kind of shape our leaf a bit. Here is a swage block, and you can kind of probably see it a little bit better when I go to the anvil camera. But basically, this is a giant block of steel, and it's got little divots in it. So it's got little divots in the face, and I can use those to kind of shape my leaves and my material. So it works beautifully. But if you don't have a swage block and you're trying to shape your leaf, you can actually do that on a piece of wood. So if I took like a 2x4 or like a stump or something, I could take the ball peen hammer and put my material on the wood, and it'll kind of dig in a divot, kind of burn it in. So that is kind of how that works a little bit. There we go. So I'm gonna kind of put this guy right here. A little bit. Around for a while know that this is the same divot that I used for our spoon. So we've got a nice shape going in there. And now we're going to kind of pull out that tip. So now we've got like a little tip curve coming up there. We've got a nice shape on that leaf. I'm really happy with that. Right there. So now we're going to kind of scroll out this area right here, the vine. That's lovely. Thank you, Bungalow Glow. So let's put this swage block away so that it's not in our way. That thing weighs about 50 pounds. And then the stand weighs another about 10 pounds. So moving it's a little bit of a, it's a little bit of weight, not too bad. So we got a wait a little bit in order to wait for that stem to heat, because we haven't been letting it heat enough. So while we're waiting, I'm gonna change hammers. The reason I'm changing hammers is because this hammer right here is my designated chisel hammer. So I use this hammer when I'm using chisels and punches. So anytime I'm hammering cold metal with cold metal, I use this hammer. And then I also really love using the ball peen. So I keep this one nice and pristine, but this one's all gnarly and kind of pitty. And the reason that you want to make sure that your material that your hammer faces are nice and pretty is that every gouge, every like little jagged part of your hammer that sticks out of the face is transferred onto the material. And you definitely want to make sure that you know exactly what you're transferring onto your material with every hammer blow. So this hammer is my forging hammer, and it has a pristine face. Alrighty. Let's scroll this up a bit. Hammering with glancing blows off the edge of the anvil kind of curls a line or the material, and we can kind of create curls in our material. That's exactly what we're trying to go for. Then we can move over to the horn of the anvil and kind of create a much more smooth transition. Curl that a lot more. Put that back in the forge so that we can get a little bit more curling. So we're almost done. I think maximum of 2 more heats. So if there's anybody you'd like to raid, let me know. Otherwise, I'll take a look and see who's streaming. A lot of times Johnson is streaming around this time. Sometimes Valencia is streaming. So Johnson is a blade maker. He does a lot of material reduction, stainless steel kitchen knives, and those are amazing. His stream is so much fun. You actually get to see his point of view, his perspective, because he's got a camera on his shoulder. And then Valencia is a glass blower, and he does all kinds of vases and animals and all kinds of stuff. And he's a really great glass blower and streamer as well. Hey, Madibs. Archeros, thank you so much for the follow. We welcome in everybody. We will be raiding off very shortly. I have a tendency to only stream for about 3 hours in a session, because that's about as long as I can stand it out here sometimes. As far as I got sick about 5 years ago, and I'm still rebuilding my stamina. So I've gotten to the point where I can come out here for about 3 hours. When I started, I could only come out for about an hour, so we've made great strides. And you guys have helped me quite a lot. So we'll be raiding here shortly, but I am so grateful that you guys came and decided to join us today. GG us, yes, you guys have kept me honest, man. If I didn't have you guys, like, you know, encouraging me to come out here, I would just be sitting on my butt at the computer for like another 5 years. So yeah, that's okay. I've made a habit of coming into streams just as they're about to end. Yeah, sometimes that happens. All right, we're gonna do another heat. This might be our last one, but we'll probably do one more. So we're kind of shaping that curve and kind of controlling it. We can use the hammer and the edge of the anvil itself. That's really nice. I'm liking that a lot. So now we're gonna, I think I want another loop there, or at least to curl this one up a little bit further. So I'm going to put this back in the forge and we're going to get that last loop in there, or half loop at least. Yeah, I definitely need to find a different way or a different place to put my fan. It's starting to cool my material way too quickly. So I definitely want to figure out a nice place to put it, where it's not blowing directly on my anvil. So this will be our last heat. I will be back and streaming again on Wednesday at 2:30 Eastern. That's Eastern US, and that's like in the afternoon. So yeah, I stream from about 1:30 to about, or I mean, well, 1:30 my time. My time is Central. So about 2:30 Eastern time to about 5 o'clock Eastern. Sometimes a little bit later. It's starting to get late today. Oh, interesting. Had not thought of that. After your shop is switched around, you might be able to set the fan to blow outward as an exhaust. I will stream Friday. Did I say Monday? I totally thought it was Friday today for just that moment. I don't know what day it is half the time. Yes, I will be streaming on Friday. And I will definitely be streaming on Monday. There is a chance that I will have to miss out on either Wednesday or Friday. I'm not sure, and I will make sure that it is only one or the other. And I will definitely I'll make an announcement in the Discord about that. We've got some family coming in town next week, and we're not entirely sure exactly when they'll be coming. We have a cousin who actually lives in Hawaii, and they're coming in next week, and they fly standby to make it a little bit cheaper to get here. Full Moon Friday, it's gonna be weird. Oh wow. I only know today ends in a Y. Monday, Wednesday, Friday normally. Yes, that's when I stream. I stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the regular. There are times that I have to cancel streams. Sometimes I have a bad day. Like I said, I'm still kind of getting over I'm still working with my chronic illness, and sometimes it just flares up a bit. And I have to cancel, and occasionally it's been too cold. Hopefully it's never too hot. But yeah, we will be streaming Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So Friday and then Monday. Or I guess Friday and Monday for sure, and then Wednesday and Friday of next week is a little bit iffy. I'm hoping I can get both. hawkeye, but it would work very nicely for a fence or a window grate or something. So yeah. There we go. Our finished leaf. And thank you all so much for joining me today. I have had so much fun talking with you all and streaming with you, sharing the art of blacksmithing. Very cool. Thank you, Ping. All right. So yeah, I am going to end the stream here and we are going to raid off. So have a lovely rest of your day and I will see you on Friday. Thank you so much. I understand chronic illness, but mine's chronic pain. I basically have been in pain for 15 years, much to the point that I hardly notice. But when it does, let me know. It hurts proper. Yeah. Like today, I would say pioneered me. The pain is whatever, and it feels like my knees are on fire. Ooh, that's awful. I'm so sorry. I do not wish chronic illness or chronic pain on anyone. And thank you so much for joining us. All right. Who is around? Gonna raid Johnson today. He is an amazing knife maker. Let's continue working with metal. Thank you so much, guys.